Hey guys, JJ here, and for those of you that are interested in Resident Evil 2 Remake leaks and rumors, it looks like we may have just got a pretty massive leak. This leak covers everything from what camera angle the remake will be in, to the bonus modes, and so much more. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Resident Evil 2.
Before we get into this leak, I want to cover the source and if there's any legitimacy to it. The post comes from an anonymous 4chan user, which means we're not off to a good start. With the source being anonymous, it's almost impossible to find out if there's any credibility here. It's not until we read further into the leak where we start getting some interesting details. A lot of info here was previously leaked in the past by credible sources, but here's where it gets interesting. The source covers things that have been leaked in the past, but then takes it a step further and goes into such depth and detail about topics that almost seem too random to just make up. So let's dive into this leak, and you can be the judge if you think it holds any weight or if it's just some nonsense. It reads, the Resident Evil 2 remake is over the shoulder. It's a mix of Revelations 2 and Resident Evil 4. Can aim and move while shooting, but no crouching. They tried both fixed and first person, but it didn't work out. The Raccoon Police Department and city have been vastly redesigned. Item twinkles are back, just like the Japanese version of Resident Evil 2. Only 2 campaigns, no zapping system. However, Leon and Claire interact more because of this. Crocodile was cut from the game. Sherry is playable still, but can actually defend herself this time, much more like Natalia. Ada's section has been expanded. She even gets different weapons now. No 4th survivor, guessing it's held for DLC. Haven't heard anything about Tofu, but if the crocodile is out, he's probably gone too. Focus is still on horror. Despite the twinkles, there are still a lot of hidden items, like in Resident Evil 7. Difficulty is also like Resident Evil 7, normal has autosave and hard does not. Costumes are back, but a heavy focus on DLC, much like in Resident Evil 0. Elsa is a planned costume for Claire, as is Leon's Resident Evil 1.5 gear. You can develop the Rebecca picture from the trash can and also something else, and a late 2018 target release date. So as you can see, there was a lot to cover and a lot to take in. Like I said previously, he gets so into detail, from the item twinkles to the location of Rebecca's picture, that it almost seems too random to make up. There's a lot to talk about here, but I'll focus primarily on some of the big points of this leak. I would go further into detail about camera angles and getting rid of the A and B scenarios, but I already covered that in my last Resident Evil 2 Remake leaked info video, which I'll link down below. The biggest thing that caught my attention here is that the Raccoon Police Department and the surrounding streets have been vastly redesigned. From its tight corridors to its Gothic-style architecture, the Raccoon Police Department has been one of the most iconic locations to the series. With the game being remade, many fans have expressed their interest in seeing the RPD expanded on, similar to the Resident Evil 1 remake. The exciting part of this, though, is that it was vastly redesigned. If the remake kept the same Gothic architecture style of the original but was vastly altered, we may not only get to revisit the RPD, but an all-new and expanded on RPD that is a new experience for fans new and old. This has got me extremely excited. The next big thing is the bonus modes. It's great to hear Ada's section of the game has been expanded on. I've said in the past, it would be extremely interesting to see things from her perspective, similar to Separate Ways mode in Resident Evil 4, and that sounds like what we may be getting here. It's unfortunate to hear that Hunk's mode was cut from the game and that it may be held for DLC, although having it offered as DLC is still better than not getting it at all. Sure, it isn't right that we'll now have to pay more for this mode when it was offered for free in the original Resident Evil 2, but who knows, with the expansion of Ada's mode and the campaign, maybe we'll have a full experience and be okay with paying a little extra for more. If the DLC system is utilized properly and offers more content without taking advantage of the fans, then it can be a good thing. It really depends on if Capcom has learned from the past mistakes with DLC. Also, seeing the return of costumes but having them held behind a paywall, similar to Resident Evil 0's DLC, is a bit upsetting. I'd much rather they be unlocked through completing certain tasks like in the original Resident Evil 2. If they are DLC, I hope that there are already unlockables in the game and these are just extras for those that want more. I'm extremely excited to hear that we'll be getting an Elsa Walker and Leon Kennedy outfit from Resident Evil 1.5. For those of you that don't know, Resident Evil 1.5 was the original Resident Evil 2 and starred Elsa Walker instead of Claire Redfield. It was scrapped somewhere around 70% of the way through development and completely reworked from the ground up to give us the Resident Evil 2 we know and love today. On to the next topic that I refuse to believe is true is that the crocodile was cut from the game. Not a lot to say here other than don't let that be true, and if it is, you better push the release date back and add Croc back to the game. And don't forget Tofu. It would be very upsetting to lose one of Resident Evil 2's most iconic bosses in the game. And last but not least is that we should be seeing a release of Resident Evil 2 Remake sometime in late 2018. That would be awesome and mean we should be getting some info soon. Those were my thoughts, but I want to know what you guys think about this leak. What was the most interesting part about it? What made you the most upset? Do you even think there's any credibility behind this? Let me know down in the comments and let's have a good discussion about it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, we cover Resident Evil news, have interviews with the actors, and much more. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit that subscribe button and become a member of the Residents of Evil today. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon supported channel, so if you'd like to see your name here in the credits or get access to a lot of other really cool perks like early access to content or having your question asked on the ROE podcast, head over to patreon.com/ROE Network. You can follow the Residents of Evil on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Links will be down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you back at the Residents of Evil.